Stick with us a little bit here. We've got the one, the only Santiago Alberto, and he's going to be joining us right now. Santiago, how you doing?
Are we live?
We are live.
All right, I'm doing great. It's good to be here with you guys.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you came down, and I'm glad we were able to catch up with you in your own hometown here pretty much.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I was like, oh, we're doing a live interview with New Mex Radio? So yeah, we're bringing New Mexico to you.
That's
wow.
right. So tell us what's been going on and let us know, bring the fans up to date there, Santiago.
Well, I just released a new single called Siempre Siempre, unplugged version. It came out July 1st. And in my mariachi album, I came out with Siempre Siempre, but it was like a mariachi / bachata version. But
Okay.
I always really liked that song, you know? And I got a lot of feedback from people telling me, hey, that Siempre Siempre, that's like one of my favorite songs. It's just so catchy and stuff. So later on, like the past few months, you know, I was experimenting with it a little bit and just messing around on the guitar. And so I kind of started playing it like pop, you know, funky. And I was like, oh, this sounds pretty cool. You know, I think I'm going to record it this way too.
Right.
And do another version for fun. And it started off more for fun. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to release it, you know?
Right.
But it sounded really cool and I really liked it. So I just decided, I was like, oh, you know, I'm going to finish it and do it, you know, nice. And so that's how that came about. It wasn't really planned to like do a version of it. It just
kind of sort of happened on its own.
Spontaneously happened like that.
Let us know what's going on. Let us know how the Rams are doing too.
Yeah, so right now everything's looking good. Everything's opening back up. So we're gonna start getting ready for another Rams season now at SoFi Stadium.
Nice.
So, you know, we're getting the group back together right now. And
how many of there are you?
There's 9 of us.
9. And mention their names.
Let's see. Well, we have our Armonía section. It's Jesus Chuy Hernandez. He was a former guitar player for Mariachi Sol de Mexico.
Okay.
For like 30 years. He was the original.
Wow.
He started there with his brother Jose.
Okay.
And his brother Jose Hernandez, director of Sol de Mexico, he's the one who put the Rams together.
Okay.
So the Rams people contacted him to put the mariachi together, so he put it together for us. So Chuy, he kind of coordinates everything too, and he leads us. And then guitarron, we just got a new guitarron player. His name is Ben Bergeron. He's actually from Tucson. He moved here to do mariachi as well. We have Ivan Cruz, trumpet player. Christopher Rubalcaba, another trumpet player. Julio Hernandez, violin. Ricardo Rios, violin. Luis Jaime, violin. And who am I leaving out? Oh, Joaquin Telles on violin. So a great group of guys. Like everybody's like a well-accomplished musician. You know, some of the guys have gone on tour like with Luis Miguel, stuff like that. So it's really fun to play with like all these guys who are amazing. You know, I learn a lot from them and we provoke each other, you know, so we have a lot of fun, you know, so we're excited for this year.
Cool. That's good. And do you guys practice a lot, or do you guys do other shows other than just the Rams, or how do you guys coordinate that kind of stuff? Or
so for the Rams, you know, we have practices just to go over like that repertoire.
Okay.
And then outside of that, like there's a mariachi group that I play with outside called Mariachi Corazón de Mi Tierra.
Okay.
And it's basically everyone in the group plays for the Rams as well. So it's like a condensed Rams group almost.
Okay.
And then some of the other guys play with other groups, you know, together. So we all kind of work together outside as well. And so when we get back together with the Rams, everybody, you know, it's kind of easy to just mesh again, you know. And so we're probably going to start doing rehearsals again soon too.
Wow.
But, you know, for the Rams, they always ask for like outside of the box things that you don't typically see with mariachi. So that's stuff we have to rehearse.
Right. Okay. That's cool. You know, and aside from that, do you have any other projects coming up, or I know you just released Siempre Siempre, and we'll get to that, but what else you got working on? I know you're always busy doing something.
Yeah, no, for sure. Right now I'm trying to get started on a new album. I have tons of demos that I've been working on for like the past few years already. That I've accumulated. So now I'm kind of like narrowing it down to the songs that I really like and kind of trying to put together like an order of songs that I think would go well together on an album.
Okay.
And it's gonna be more pop but ranchero.
Oh, wow.
So I'm coming up with some ideas and stuff that I'm mixing. I'm bringing my flavor of mariachi and New Mexico to like an international pop sound as well.
That is so cool.
So I'm trying to fuse the two, and like I feel like a little mad scientist in my laboratory for the past like 2 years, like with a pandemic, you know.
Right.
So I'm always like experimenting. I'm like putting different sounds together. Okay, this sounds. Oh, this is kind of cool, but it's not quite there yet. All right, let's try a different formula, you know?
Right.
And so just trying different things. And so now I've come up with some stuff that I really like. So I'm excited to share it. Like, in fact, I have some songs that are almost like done, and I'm like anxious. I want to put it out already, you know?
You want to rush, and you're like, okay, we'll hold off.
Yeah, I got to calm down a little
when
bit.
the time's right.
Yeah, but hopefully soon, you know, maybe by like winter time, I'll start getting in the studio and we'll start finalizing the, you know, tracking everything.
That's cool. So for our listeners also, when you go through this process of recording, I know you do some stuff by yourself at home, and you go through, like you're saying, this creative process, and you're putting these things together. Then you go to the studio and you polish them off and finish them. How do you let our listeners know how that process goes, or how you go about, since you're fusing these things together and how you're working on those? Let them know how your process works.
Yeah, so I basically take everything that I've been influenced by, and I'll get little ideas, and like at home I'll record demos and just experiment. Sometimes it comes out good, sometimes not so good, right?
Right.
It's like trying to cook, and you're trying to come up with new recipes, and you're using things that work, and then trying to change them, but keep it tasty,
That's right.
So that's what I've been trying to do. So I'll record stuff at home, and then once I have the basic idea, then that's when I take it to the studio and we start really polishing it up, and we'll take out some fake instruments and then we put the real stuff in, and yeah, every song is different too. The process is always,
that's true.
I never know how it's gonna start or come up. I could be driving and I come up with an idea, and like I get my phone right away in the voice memos and I'll hum the idea. And I think the one thing that helps me a lot is growing up with such a big array of musical influence.
Okay.
So my parents, they're musicians. My mom we always had music in the house.
Right.
But we had like everything. We had country, we had R&B, we had funk, we had mariachi, we had New Mexico music.
Wow.
So I was getting influenced by all that. So I think some of my like biggest influences, like I remember being a kid and the first time I heard Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah.
I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. And I was just like immersed. I listened to all his albums. I made my mom buy me Thriller, the Bad album, Off the Wall, all those.
Yeah.
And then I listened to, what else? I listened to Donna Summer. My mom loves disco music.
There you go.
And then growing up with Juan Gabriel as my padrino, I listened to all Juan Gabriel stuff. And I listened to Luis Miguel. So I have like the Michael Jackson, and then I have Juan Gabriel, Elvis Presley, even like,
wow.
That's
quite a spread of
Sonny
music.
And Cher.
Right.
Like, what kids like do you know that listen to Sonny and Cher? But like my parents listen to that. So I grew up listening to that. So when I'm coming up with ideas for new stuff, I was like, oh, there was a cool thing I heard in this Elvis song that might be cool if I mixed it in with, I throw a mariachi trumpet in, or,
Right.
So I'm taking all these different things and I just have fun with it. It's like painting, or, you don't know exactly what you're going to do sometimes, but you start with an idea and then it just develops.
That's cool. And then when you kind of flourish an idea, then it probably, when you're in there, it probably has a way of finishing itself, because then it drives itself after you've got the creativeness, right?
Yeah, and then the hard part is knowing when to stop, when it's finished.
Yeah, when to stop adding stuff.
Yeah, because then I could just work on the same song the whole rest of my life and never release it, because I feel like most artists, it's like, oh, there's just one little thing, and then you finish that. Oh, okay, it sounds good. And then you listen the next day. Oh, no, there's something else. And you could just go on and on. But I've learned that once you're happy with it, it's a snapshot in time. And that's the way it was supposed to be in that moment. And then, move on, you do other stuff, and the music just gets better and evolves. Like I feel like the first productions I did, I've grown a lot since, you know.
That's good, and you can tell like when you're progressing with your musical career, and in your, like, I'll say from another musician's perspective, your mixes are impeccable and your musical talent is impeccable and all the stuff you do is amazing. So for the creative process, you've gone over that. Tell us how you finish things off in the studio and how that transpires too, because there's a creativeness and then there's the polished end to release.
Yeah. So I noticed you like the mixes, right? So I want to give a shout out to my friends Freddy Sandoval and David Santos.
Okay.
Those guys, they're some of the best engineers around here in LA.
Okay.
And I'm lucky to have them as friends as well. Like they're really good friends. And
that's awesome.
They've taught me a lot about mixing and everything. But when it comes down to the final product, I give it to those guys, and I'll go, and I sit in with them, and
right.
I kind of have an idea of what I want, but I let them do their thing because they're the masters,
Right.
And so it's been cool to really work with those guys and learn how they go about recording and everything. I've learned a lot. And, I went from listening to some of their mixes before I even knew who they were,
wow.
To really liking their recordings. I remember listening to some of the albums from like Mariachi Sol de Mexico.
Right.
And I always loved their mixes. I was like, man, they could get such a nice mix. Like,
right.
I wonder who does that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And by this time, would you say that you've worked with them enough where I know you feel comfortable handing them over your material, but they probably know you well enough to know what you like already as well, right?
Exactly. You develop a chemistry, and it's kind of like you become like a team, right?
Yeah.
And so once you get to know each other, they know you, you know what they do. Like Siempre Siempre, for example, this is a different pop. It's pop, my stuff I did with like Freddie before was mariachi, but he loves to mix that stuff too. He'll mix like amazing stuff that sounds like Tower of Power, Earth, Wind and Fire, that as well.
Yeah.
So I brought it to him and he's like, oh, okay, I got you. Like he starts doing his thing and I'm like, yep, that's pretty much how I want it.
That's awesome. So yeah, they've done plenty of your stuff. So you guys created that relationship. Plus you said you're good friends with them. So
yeah, so it's
that's
like
awesome.
You notice like in movies, I notice like Adam Sandler movies, for example. You always see Adam Sandler, and he always has his same group of friends that are all acting together.
Right.
But it's like that same thing. They develop that chemistry. So working together is just like
there you go.
Easy, right?
Right.
So I find myself now, the more I record and stuff, I start gravitating toward, because I already know the sound that everybody gets, and it's like it makes life easier, and we just click,
That's cool. It makes it a lot easier for sure,
Yeah.
That's great. Let's go to Facebook real quick. And so since we are on New Mex Radio, and we also, this is one of the times we're doing a Facebook Live. So let's give a shout out to our listeners, and let's see who's listening out here. There we go. Right off the bat, my wife, my lovely wife, Eve Trujillo, is with us.
Hi, Eve.
Edwina Duran, she's watching.
Edwina, thanks for tuning in.
Portia Cundy's watching.
Hi, Portia.
Angel Espinosa, hi from New Mexico.
Oh, I know her.
Yeah.
That's my mom.
That's right. How you doing, Angel? Thank you so much for tuning into New Mex Radio. Andrew Gudule.
Andrew, he's my uncle. He's also a guitar player.
Is he?
Yeah. When I was a little kid, he'd always bring his guitar to all the family events. I'd be like a little 3-year-old and I'd have my little toy guitar and I'd watch him. I thought, oh, that's so cool that my uncle plays a guitar. I want to play a guitar too.
Right.
I'd strum along with the right hand. I didn't know what chords or what, but I'd play along and we'd jam. And once in a while at a family event now, we still jam now. And now he's asking me how to play certain chords.
So it's turned.
He tells me, hey, what's that chord? When I used to like watch him. So it's cool.
That is cool. That's so awesome. Katie Grassel's watching.
Saludos, Katie.
How you doing, Katie? So glad to see you. Your mom commented, David Santos and Freddy Sandoval, great engineers in the music industry, no doubt. We can tell from your son's records here that they are just awesome. They're great individuals,
Yeah.
Lish Lovato, she's listening in. She says, hey, Santiago.
Saludos.
Liz Gurule says, hey, Santiago.
Hi, Liz.
Lish is actually watching from Española.
All right. Go Sun Devils.
That's it.
And Tigers, too. We're here with some Tigers.
Let's see. I'm trying to have this thing cooperate with me. There we go. Also, we have my brother, Rafael Trujillo.
All right, Rafael.
And, of course, my daughter, Kyra.
Kyra, big shout out to you. Your dad was telling me you like my music, so that makes me very happy to hear.
Nice. That's great. And Antonio Reina, he says keep it up.
Oh, Antonio. I'll be seeing him soon. We're going to be at Mariachi Spectacular, and he's been doing a lot of work for them. So, like, big shout out to him for all the work he does to promote mariachi music. Aside from, like, his music career as an artist, you know, he's always promoting mariachi at a high level. So, big shout out to Antonio.
That's great. Lisa Anglada says hola.
Hola, Lisa. We're having some fun over here, right?
That's it.
The weather's perfect now, too.
I'll tell you what, it is amazing out here. We don't get this kind of weather in New Mexico, and it is awesome here, you know.
Yeah. Did you guys bring green chili with you?
We didn't. If I would have known, we would have been a special request for you.
I know, right? We could have some green chili right here.
There you go.
We'll get it soon.
Oh, yeah. Or chimichangas, right?
Oh, yeah. Some all-sups, right?
Yeah.
There's no all-sups around here.
That's it. And chimichangas are hard to come by. You know.
I developed a hack, actually.
Did you really?
That. There's what are they called? I can't think of the name now off the top of my head. They're frozen chimichangas.
Okay.
And you heat them up in the microwave. But what you do is you heat it up and then you put it on the pan and you like sear it. You toast it.
Wow.
And they come out kind of like all-sups. So when I'm really craving that, that's the only way I could do it.
Wow, that's cool. Hey, if you got to do what you got to do, right?
When I'm recording or I'm in the zone or something, I'm like, man, I got to eat something real quick. All right, I'm just going to go thaw one of these out. I don't have time to cook, but I like to cook, actually. It's fun.
Oh, cool. What other hobbies do you have, speaking of which, you know, besides your music? I mean, I know music is a big thing for you.
Yeah. Let's see. I really like basketball.
Wow, okay.
In fact, like, I've always been a Lakers fan and a Suns fan, right?
Okay.
And so the Suns just made it to the finals, so I was like super excited. And when they were playing the Clippers here, I was pumped because I was like, oh, I'm gonna go check out some games. Like, why not?
Right.
You know? So I went to like the last two Clipper Suns games, and then I finally got to see the Suns go to the finals because I've been a fan since like Steve Nash and those guys.
Geez. Yeah.
And they never quite got to the finals, you know, so it was cool to see them make it. But I like basketball. I've always been into that since I was a kid. I was played like with my friends and on the school teams and stuff. And you know, I love going to the beach now that I'm like closer, you know. People always say, you're always at the beach. Like, don't you do anything else? No, I like it. It's because I didn't grow up around it, you know. So all my friends that grew up around here, they're like, yeah, that's cool. But yeah, and cooking. I don't do a lot of cooking here, to be honest. I'm always like on the go and stuff, so it's like easier just to go through the drive-through of Taco Bell or something. But when I go to New Mexico and I visit my parents, I go to my mom's house. We cook like every night, and so we go all out, you know.
There you go.
So that's fun. And so besides that, like music, I always enjoy doing that anyway. So
wow. Okay.
That takes up most of my time.
So I know for a singer such as your caliber, and I'll say it that way, your caliber, because it's an amazing talent. Your vocals also. Is there exercises, or how do you keep up your as like horn players say your aperture? Or how do you keep that up? You know, because it's not easy. A lot of people say it's easy, but it's not easy. You make it look easy.
Yeah, I try to. Yeah, so I gig a lot now, right? So I play with a mariachi group outside, like I was saying earlier, and that keeps me like in shape, you know. Like there's, you know, some Saturdays and Sundays where we'll work like 6-7 hours a Saturday, and then the next day it's another 6-7 hours.
Wow. Okay.
And so that really keeps me, you know, on top of it. At first, you can't just jump into doing gigs like that, right? You kind of work your way up. And then the good thing about when you're playing in a mariachi is you all take turns singing, so you're not singing everything back to back.
Right.
And so, you know, that keeps me in shape. Before I go to gigs, I warm up as I'm driving to the gig, you know, boring stuff, you know. I do like my little lip trills and little arpeggios and scales, but that makes a big difference,
It does.
know, and that keeps your voice healthy. and strong, so that if I don't warm up and I go do, a long day of gigging, by the end I'm like, I can't really sing.
Right.
And so that helps. I recently started drinking like ice cold water when I'm done, and it actually helped me a lot. So, a friend of mine, Vicente Griego, a great flamenco singer
Okay.
from New Mexico,
Wow.
he was telling me about that. And so after a long weekend of gigs, I thought I'm gonna try it. It's like a athlete when they ice their knees after the game or something for like the inflammation.
Wow.
And so I thought, okay, I want to try it, because he told me there's opera singers at the opera, they have a snow cone machine and everything backstage after it, and then they could go the next day and do a whole nother set, and they're strong.
Right.
So I was like, I want to try it. I tried it, and it's worked for me. So, some things don't work for everybody, but you just gotta find what works best for you, and use it, right?
There you go.
But yeah, it's important. You gotta take care of your voice.
That's it.
And
It's a tool also, just like your instrument.
yeah,
So it needs maintenance,
exactly. And when I'm not gigging, I don't sing a whole lot, and I try to rest my voice and
That's good.
drink a lot of water.
Yeah, there you go. Stay hydrated, especially in this heat, I'll tell you.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
What else? Let's see who's on here.
Yeah, let's see
And
who's
if you have any questions from anyone watching,
Yeah, if anybody's got any questions, or
free
if
to
anybody
ask
wants to ask Santiago Alberto a question at all, let him know.
All right, Stephanie, we look comfy in Cali. Yeah, it's a nice day out here.
It is. It's awesome here. So Juan Gabriel, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, amazing musician and very big idol on your part.
Yeah.
So let our listeners know.
Well, he was my padrino. He we have similar well, we're both Capricorns, right? My birthday was on January 5th and his was on the 7th.
Oh wow.
So, when I was born, he was living there in Santa Fe, right? And my parents were friends of his, and that we were always at his ranch. So when I was born, he actually drove to the Espanola Hospital and visited
Wow.
my mom and my dad and
That is cool.
me when I was born. And so that's like always been like real special to me.
Sure.
And personally, he was like a really cool guy, very what would you say? He was just one of a kind, right? But very nice, and he really liked to take care of himself too. Like, he didn't even eat meat or anything like that.
Wow.
He was always into like organic food and being very careful about that stuff. And he always gave good advice too, like you could probably ask him anything, and he was very smart. It's like it was like talking to somebody who was like had their doctor's degree in like every subject.
Wow.
He like read a lot of books and stuff. He knew about health and about history and music. He was like an encyclopedia. He knew all the artists from Mexico and even from Europe, and listen to
Wow.
all this different stuff. He would teach, like, give you a music lesson.
He's like an encyclopedia of music.
Yeah, and he knew all the lyrics to everybody's songs too.
Wow.
I was like
Now
that.
that's a talent.
That's what impressed me too. Like, I always have to work hard to learn lyrics, but he like, you could mention any song from Jose Alfredo or anyone, and he could just sing you the whole thing top to bottom.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
That's amazing.
So that was cool.
And probably in key, the original key.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But I learned a lot from him too, and it was cool.
That's cool.
I was telling a friend of mine actually yesterday. I had a gig, and they were asking me about my vihuela. They were looking at it. They're like, "Wow, that's really nice." So I told them about the story of how I got that vihuela.
Okay.
I had been playing mariachi there at Espanola High School in the mariachi, and I was starting, and I really started getting serious into it. And I just had a student vihuela, something that
Right.
a real cheap one, because my parents didn't know if I was gonna keep going or not. So they thought, well, this would be a good one to learn,
Right.
And once I got serious, I started asking all the pros, what kind of vihuela do you use? And I kept hearing the name Morales. Oh, the Roberto Morales vihuela. That's like the one to get. So his Juan Gabriel's mariachi used to come to Santa Fe sometimes to do rehearsals or to record. So one summer, his mariachi was in town. They're rehearsing, and my dad went to the vihuela player and asked him, "Hey, do you know how to get a hold of a Morales vihuela?" And he tells him, "Yeah, well, in fact, the one I'm playing here, this is a Morales."
Wow.
And my dad asked, "Oh, well, would you want to sell it, or do you know how to, have one you would want to sell?" He said, "Sure, I'll sell you this one when we're gonna leave back to Mexico, in a few days, and I'll sell you this one, and it's yours."
Wow.
Oh, okay, cool, cool. And so my dad didn't have all the cash on him like at the moment, so he said, "Well, I'll go get you the money." And okay, cool. So my dad went and asked Juan Gabriel, my tío. He said, "Hey, can I borrow the money for the vihuela?"
Right.
Oh yeah, and he always had like a bunch of cash on him. And so no problem here. Okay, cool. So my dad got the vihuela, and later on, my dad went back with the money. He told him, here's the money you lent me for the vihuela. No, está bien. Es para Santiago para aprender o tocar la vihuela.
Wow.
And so that was really cool,
That is.
So that instrument is so special to me,
Yeah.
So that's like a really cool thing. He was like that, he's
Right.
very like giving, and he knew that I loved mariachi because when I had that old vihuela, in fact, this is another story with him. It was a Friday, and I was going to Española Middle School. I was in 8th grade, and so my parents went to pick me up from school like usual, right?
Right.
But guess who's in the back seat picking me up too?
Juan.
He was there with them.
That is
and
so cool.
I'm like getting in the car, and I was like, "Oh, hey, tío. Oh, ¿cómo está? All right, Santiago, let's go." All right, cool. I get in, and then my parents are about to drive off, and I say, "Wait. I forgot my vihuela. I left it in the band room, but I need to bring it home for the weekend so I could practice. I'm supposed to practice."
Right.
"Well, hurry, because your tío's with us." And okay. So I ran out of the car. I went, and luckily Mr. Trujillo was still, he was like just locking up the room. "Oh, let me get my vihuela." "Oh, okay, cool." And so I get back in the car, and Juan Gabriel, he was with my parents, and I don't know why, sometimes he would say, "Well, I just want to go for a ride somewhere."
Right.
So that day, I guess he told my parents, "Let's go for a ride. I want to go to Velarde and through, like, I want to look at that area.
Oh, wow.
Let's just drive." And so when they picked me up from school, they're like, "Okay, Santiago, we're just gonna go drive around. He wants to go for a cruise." And okay, cool. So he saw I had my vihuela, and he says, mijo, saca la vihuela. A ver."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I get it out, and I'm there in the back seat. We have we're in the SUV, and "A ver, mijo, tócame un son." "Oh, okay." So he's like putting me on the spot. So I start,
Right.
"Oh, muy bien, muy bien. Okay, tócame un bolero." Okay. And he went through like all the different mariachi rhythms of like huapango, ranchera.
Wow.
And he could tell that I was like getting into it because when he'd asked me, I could sort of do it.
Right.
And so he saw that, I was really getting into it. And yeah, so like those are fun memories that I have of him.
That is so cool. Those are memories that'll stay with you forever. You can't, unfortunately, those memories are locked in your head, and, they'll be with you forever. There's something that'll never leave you. And those are amazing memories for sure. You know? Did you ever have a moment with him where, just like that, where you would play and then he would start singing?
Yeah. There was a couple times that we sort of jammed, and we'd even start like harmonizing together just for fun, And then I remember one time we were singing Se me olvidó otra vez, because it was like on the spot, know, and I was like, well, we could sing this one because I know the lyrics really well to that one. I'm not gonna mess it up. I don't want to mess up his song in front of him.
Right.
Okay, so we start singing that, and he starts harmonizing with me, and then, okay, mijo, yo voy a cantar la primera, tú echa la segunda. Okay, so we'd switch parts and we'd harmonize, and okay, a ver, we could harmonize this way, or he'd show me like a different way to harmonize. And so I was like, wow, this is fun. Like, and he'd start having fun too, but
cool.
He didn't always do that, he sang like for a living. He was always on tour and stuff. So, but when we did get to talking about music, it was a lot of fun.
That's cool. And what a better way to learn than somebody of his caliber as well. That's awesome stuff right there,
Yeah.
That's great. your new song, Siempre Siempre. We were talking about it a little bit earlier. We're going to get to playing it here in a minute. So is there anything else you'd like to say about that? I know it's a pop track. You like to mix and match these songs and bring them to your style.
Yeah. So Siempre Siempre, like the whole history of that song, it actually runs back to like the early 90s when I was a kid, you know. Well, that song is like from the 80s. But my mom was actually doing a album that Juan Gabriel was gonna produce for her,
Okay.
and she had all these demos, and they recorded all the demos, and they were finished. And I always remembered that song since I was like a baby. I was like 3. I don't even know how I
It's
remember
funny how
it,
songs stick with you, huh?
but when I was picking songs for the album, that song was always in my mind. I was like, oh, this is such a cool song, and I had an idea to do it a different way. So it came all the way from hearing it as a little kid to putting my own twist on it with the bachata mariachi version. And then later on, I was like, oh, this song lends itself to like any style. So I'm gonna
Right.
do this pop version, you know?
Cool.
And so I had fun with it, and it's like a mixture. I call it unplugged. I didn't know what else to call it. I was like, it's different, so just unplugged version.
Call it unplugged.
Because it has acoustic guitar in it, but then I put like some cool synthesizers and
Wow.
modern sounds that I think are cool in there too. And it's very clean too. I didn't overproduce it. I thought it's such a good melody that I don't want to cover it up with too much.
Right.
And I played all the instruments on the song. It's like a one-man
Wow.
band.
Well, I was going to ask you too. My next question was going to be, who else helped you with this song and what musicians are on it? But you answered that, all you, right?
Yeah, I recorded all the instruments on it.
Wow.
And when it was done, I took it to my buddy Freddie
Right.
to mix, and
And he did his magic.
Yeah, it was between both of us.
Wow. Okay. Hey, give our listeners a little rundown of the instruments. I know you played them yourself,
Yeah.
but what's all in there that it takes to create a song like that?
Well, the intro starts with guitar, right? So we have the lead guitar playing.
Right.
Then we have there's just a kick drum.
Okay.
And I did like apagones on the guitar, like the sound.
Right.
So I do the kick. That apagon is like the snare drum in there. So it's
Right.
like do do
There you go.
do, and then you have then we have the bass. I did that on the synthesizer, right?
Synthesized bass.
With the keyboard.
Nice.
And then just some synth pads, I layer different stuff. There's some piano sounds in there. On the chorus, I did my voice, like I probably did like 12 tracks of just my voice.
Wow.
Like doubling and then doing different harmonies. It's 4-part harmony.
Right. Wow.
And that's about it. Little sounds in there too, like little like rises or like little booms and stuff.
Little sound effects and stuff.
Yeah, so I sprinkle those in there, and at the end you put it together, put some different effects too. You make it sound like it's in a big hall or something.
Right.
So that's fun. You're playing with its different colors and textures and stuff. So
right. Amazing job.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Let's get to some Facebook Lives. You got a question on
I saw
Facebook.
we had a question from Rafael Trujillo.
That's my brother.
Okay,
He's
cool.
in Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha. Awesome. All right. He says, what advice would you give to your younger self now that you've learned so much?
Good question.
Man, that's a tough question too, though. Because I think when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have understood everything all at once,
Right.
I feel like maybe it's best that you grow up one step at a time, learning slowly. That way you can build on everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it would have been hard for me to really give myself one piece of advice. But I think, if anything, I kind of would have just told myself, don't listen to naysayers.
Right.
Whatever you do, whatever your heart tells you to do, go for it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail, because I hear a lot of people say that too.
Right.
And it's true, like there's been plenty of times where I didn't get an outcome that I wanted, but I didn't give up on it.
That's
and
the key.
it helped. Like I'm still, pursuing my my goals and everything, and I try not to let anything stop me. Even sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's not easy to just I'm positive all the time.
Right.
But and then it makes you appreciate what you have more.
Exactly.
But I'm glad. Like I think growing up too, my parents, I learned a lot from them too, and they helped kind of instill that in me as well from an early age.
Right.
To chase after my dreams. My mom, she was is not was she still is. She's an amazing singer. When she was my age or younger, she started going on tours and stuff.
Right.
She worked with a trio called Los Copacabana.
Okay.
They were famous for the song Cuando Calienta el Sol.
Oh yeah.
And they were like the original guys to do it.
Wow.
And so she came up from Española. There's not a huge music industry there, or especially when she was growing up in high school.
Right.
But she knew she wanted to pursue music, and she didn't let anything stop her. And she ended up doing some amazing things. She has
did.
some great recordings. I was just telling her, I was talking to her today. I was telling her, I literally know all your songs because I grew up listening to them all the time.
Exactly.
And then my dad, he's into music, but his big passion is acting. And since he was a kid too, he was like in the school talent shows, and he was always,
Wow.
pursuing acting. And he ended up moving to LA probably around my age too, a little younger. And he worked professionally as an actor full time here in LA. He came out on a lot of TV shows and
Wow.
stuff. He did like he directed stuff. And then like he still does that to this day,
Right.
and he moved back to New Mexico. Like I was born, and that's when he moved back, that's when I came into the picture, and he stayed there. And he came out in Breaking Bad.
Oh, cool.
He has a scene, if you watch season 3 episode 3, the opening scene with Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
They chop off his head and all that, but not my dad's.
Yeah.
But my dad's the bartender in that scene where he's talking to Danny and he's serving him his tequila and all
cool.
that. And it's funny because I moved here and people always ask me, "Oh, you're from New Mexico? That's where they filmed Breaking Bad." And I tell them, "Oh yeah, my dad came out and and I tell them, "Oh, it was this episode. Oh, your dad's the bartender." They already know. It's like, "Oh, that's so cool."
That is cool.
Or my friends who are watching Breaking Bad for the first time that know my dad or grew up, they'll text me, "Hey, I saw your dad on Breaking Bad."
Wow, that's cool.
But they both went after their dreams, and so they instilled that in me too, to keep going and do what I love.
That's good advice from your mom and dad, and look at their careers and yours. You guys are all headed on the right path. You guys do what you love, and you can tell because you it shows in your work for sure.
So for anybody, no matter what it is that you love, the main thing is to go after what you want to do.
That's it.
Not what other people want you to do.
Right.
Because you're always going to get people, even in my college career, sometimes I have advisors or people who don't really know me. They're just, they advise everybody that, well, what you should do is this. But at the end of the day, you got to go with your gut.
That's right.
Because you're going to be happier doing that. And eventually, God, the universe will make it happen.
That's right. You try hard enough, it's going to happen for you.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. Great advice from Santiago Alberto for sure. I'm honored and happy for you to have you here, and great stuff.
Yeah. It's an honor to be here with you.
Sure. Hey, closing thoughts and anything you'd like to say to all the fans out there for you.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys for having me on. DJ Vito,
Thank
we
you
have
so much.
Javier and Ruben. You guys do so much for promoting New Mexico music. Like, it's really cool to see what you guys do because you always do it at a high level. Every time I get on like social media or I see something from you guys, it's always top notch.
Cool.
And so that's great. We need people like that to support New Mexico artists because there's so much talent. It's cool. I love hearing all the new music from new artists.
That's
I
right.
hear like Gabriela Salazar and everybody who's coming out, young, there's like 15, 16-year-olds and they're all singing great and they're putting out great music. So you guys are helping to share it so people can hear it.
Cool. Well, thank you.
So I really appreciate that. And to all the listeners out there, all the fans, all my friends and family, I wouldn't be doing music if it wasn't for you guys. You know, I just love to do what I do and share it. And I'm just happy that you guys enjoy it. And, you know, you're going to be hearing a lot more from me too.
That's great.
So we have more music for you guys and more stuff to come. So I'm excited. Thank you guys.
Cool. Thank you again, Santiago, for being with us. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you and, you know, catch up on all your new projects and ventures. Let us know when you got new releases out.
Definitely.
Best of luck at the Mariachi Spectacular in Albuquerque. Always a great time to have you. And thank you for coming down. You know, I mean, we came down here, but I mean, it was still a drive for you to come down to here. So
no, it's good to be together in person again.
That's it. Our last interview was over Zoom.
Yeah.
And believe me, to have the organicness, this is a lot better, you know.
Definitely.
Thanks again for being with us.
Thank you guys.